Hi, I'm the Mythology Guy, and I just got done watching Marvel's Moon Knight show. Definitely something a lot of you guys have been saying, make a video on Moon Knight, make a video on Moon Knight, even though I told people I was going to wait for the show to finish and then talk about it. I guess some people didn't get the message. I'm not a fan of the whole releasing episodes by the week thing. I'm a man who loves to binge. I thought Netflix normalized that when they were releasing whole seasons, but apparently no, we're still doing this episode weekly shit, which I can't stand. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Is the Moon Knight show good? Yes. Yes, it is good. It is a good show. Now, I have not read a ton of Moon Knight comics. I've read some. I know the character. Well, at least I thought I knew the character, because in the comics I read, they didn't have the whole multiple personality thing. In the comics I read, he was a mercenary. He was infiltrating a group called the Collective. He kidnapped a werewolf at one point. They didn't do that this season. I don't know, maybe next season. But I guess since then, the character has grown into multiple personality disorder. So, you know, I can't fully judge it based on the comics. I will, you know, a lot of people have been wondering, hey, mythology, because this show is rooted a little bit in Egyptian mythology. So people are like, is it close to Egyptian mythology? How are the gods? How's everything? Well, obviously I'm going to start this with a non-spoiler section, and I'll go into spoilers later. But mythology-wise, it's a mix. There were some accurate things that I was happy to see, and there are some inaccurate things that I was like, all right. But look, it's a Disney Marvel TV show based on a Marvel comic book based on mythology. You know, there's several layers. I didn't expect them to get everything right. There are some things I think could have been done a little better, and there was one really confusing thing, and I'll get into that in spoilers. But basically, it's a mix. They got some things right in Egyptian mythology, which I was very happy to see. They got some other things wrong, which I found a little confusing, but okay. And I'll get into that stuff in spoilers. We do get to see some Egyptian gods in this, and that, me being me, I enjoyed that. I enjoy seeing Egyptian gods. I enjoy seeing them in action. There is a little bit of Egyptian god action. Though I feel like we get kind of cheated out of some other Egyptian god action, and I'll get into that in spoilers too. Now, the best part of this show, this is kind of funny for me to say because this is a superhero mythology show, but the best thing about this show is the multiple personality disorder, I swear. Oscar Isaac kills it here. He plays the different personalities brilliantly. They've got different accents. They've got completely different personalities, and I know their personalities. I feel like I know what Mark would do in a situation versus what Steven would do in a situation. That's good writing. That's very good. It's not just bland, interchangeable characters. It's very easy, honestly, for me to forget that it's the same actor playing these two. I see them so distinctly from each other, and it's just done so well, honestly. So hats off to Oscar Isaac. He killed it. I love the performance. There were parts where I legitimately felt so bad for him in like the first episode and some of the second episode. I felt terrible for his character. I was watching the show going, oh dude, oh. Like, so if I'm reacting like that, that means that, you know, you're doing something right. Because I care. I cared about the character. I don't know whether to call Moon Knight character or characters because of the different personalities. Another thing I really liked is, I really liked how they updated Moon Knight's costume. Because first of all, it's shaped exactly like the Moon Knight costume. Excellent. They didn't change too much. I think they changed just enough. Basically, in the comics, it's just a clean, you know, smooth costume. But in the show, they made it like it's made out of mummy wraps. And I loved that. I felt like that gave it more of an identity. And it really makes you look at him and think Egyptian, you know? Like, if you looked at the one from the comics, I don't think your first guess would be, oh, Egyptian, you know? You'd think, oh, badass, but I don't think you'd think Egyptian. Now I look at this costume, I think badass and Egyptian. So I think they nailed it there. Very good. yeah, so I really like the costume. I absolutely love the main character, and I'm good with the other characters too. I'm mixed on the mythology stuff, and I'm not super deep into the Moon Knight comics, so I can't really judge it as an adaptation. But I have read some Moon Knight comics. I always thought he was badass. When we do get full Moon Knight action, it is pretty cool. I personally would have liked a little more action throughout the show. I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled by how much action was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But, yeah, there are parts where I really would have liked more action. There are parts where I thought we were about to see really cool action and then we didn't, and I was a little disappointed. There are parts where, like, he's about to do an action scene, but then it flips personality and flips back, so we literally cut to, like, 5 minutes later and the action scene literally happened off screen. I'm just like, oh, you know, I get what you're doing for this style, but I also would have liked to see that. So, you know, it's a little mixed in that regard. Yeah, also there's obviously another character. I'm going to try not to spoil too much because it's kind of hard to talk about this show without spoiling things. But there is another main character. She's, like, good too. I enjoyed her very much. I thought she had good character. Also, there is kind of a god main character. And yeah, I won't say who it is for anyone who doesn't know. But there is a god who makes frequent appearances, and, you know, he felt like he acted the way, like, a god would act, honestly. I've read a lot of mythology, and, yeah, I could see a god acting that way. It sounded pretty right, yeah. There's another god who makes an appearance who I wasn't expecting to see, and I was very happy to see this other god, and this god was done very well, and I'll get into that in spoilers. The villain is played by Ethan Hawke. He's good too, honestly. You know, he plays his role very well, and you know, even the interesting thing about him is he's not like a mustache twirly villain. He's kind of sympathetic, and yeah, again, I feel like I know his character too. He believes what he's doing is right. And I can get why he thinks what he's doing is right. It's not just, oh, you're a complete idiot for thinking that. It's like, yeah, it's an extreme, but I know there are people who think this way. So, yeah, I thought that made sense too. Like I said, when there is action, it's fun. There's some pretty badass action. There's kind of the last episode, like, I'm not going to talk about what actually happens in it, but I will say we got a mixture of really cool stuff, and then at first I was a little mad at the ending, but then there's an after credits scene that kind of saved the ending for me. So, yeah, there's not much else I can say without spoilers, so I'm just gonna wrap up my thoughts on this show. The main character performance and the dual personality thing is so good that it really propels my thoughts on this show. And I did get, for me, just enough, like, fun superhero stuff and mythology stuff. However, there were some inaccuracies. If there weren't, and honestly, I feel like the inaccuracies made this show a little worse. I feel like if the inaccuracies weren't there, I would probably give this show like a 9 out of 10. But because they are there, I'm going to bring it down to an 8 out of 10. By the way, this show is definitely more towards adults than kids. This show's got blood, it's got straight up death and murder shown on screen, it's got child abuse in it. And that doesn't mean you can't show it to a kid. As a kid, I would have loved to see all that. But, you know, if your kid wants to watch it, I would say watch it with them. And, you know, just be there so you can answer any questions they might have. It's not like there's, like, sex or swearing or anything. I think it's fine for kids, honestly. But it's definitely more geared for the adults. So I'd say watch it with your kid. That's what I would say. All right. So, yeah, I give the show an 8 out of 10. I do recommend it, you know. Is it worth getting Disney Plus just for this show? You know, there's a lot of other value on Disney Plus, so I don't even know whether to judge it that way anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth, like, what is it, the $7 for the month to watch the whole show? There's 6 episodes. Yeah, I'd say that's worth it. You know, at least they didn't charge $30 for it. Look at me being nice to Disney after they copyright claim my videos. All right, I'm going to get into spoilers now. So those are pretty much my thoughts without spoilers. You ready for spoilers? 3, 2, 1... Ba-boom! Spoilers. Okay, there's a third personality. I like to start with just an incredibly, like, big spoiler. Yeah, he apparently has a third personality. I didn't, like, like, Wild and I were watching it together and we kind of joked about it, because they actually did kind of build it up. Like, there's a scene where he blacks out and then comes back into it, and it's like Mark, like Steven, was that you? No, but well, it wasn't me either. And I'm like, there's a third personality, isn't there? But I wasn't entirely sure until they finally did reveal it, and he seemed like a gangster personality, so that seemed like fun. So as I was saying earlier, there are some parts where I felt like we got kind of like I was a little disappointed at some certain parts. By the way, there's one scene that I'm just going to talk about because I think it's a little funny. So Ethan Hawke is like talking to Layla, the love interest, and they're in a cave, and they're at like opposite ends of the cave, and there's a chasm in between them, and Ethan Hawke's character always whisper talks, and at one point she like walks away, she's on the other end of the whole cave, and she walks away through a tunnel, and he doesn't yell, he doesn't even yell, he just says, you know, your father once said a thing, and she can somehow hear him all the way down there, clear as a bell. I found that a little funny, but, you know, it's not like it breaks the show or anything. I was just like, speak up a little. Yeah, and there are scenes later where, again, he's whisper talking, and I always jokingly yell out, we can't hear you, Ethan. Oh, boy. But, yeah, so, yeah. Ethan, apparently, this is another thing I didn't see coming, which actually adds a lot to his character, is he's apparently the former avatar of Khonshu, which is what Moon Knight is. He's the avatar of Khonshu. And Ethan Hawke is the former avatar of Khonshu, because, you know, in superhero movies, the villain always has to be an evil version of the hero. But yeah, because of that, he knows Khonshu really well, he knows all this Egyptian stuff, and he's actually traumatized by the things Khonshu made him do. So that's actually an interesting character, quite a bit. Khonshu's the god I was talking about. He's very arrogant. He's very full of himself. It's funny because Khonshu's clearly trying to do the right thing. Like, he's like the most, out of the Egyptian gods, it seems he's the most like, I want to be a hero, I want to do the right thing. But even he's got his head so far up his own ass. I'm like, yeah, that's a mythology god for you. You know, it's interesting. Khonshu has the head of a bird. He has a bird's skull for a head. I've never seen that while researching Egyptian mythology. I always pictured Khonshu as just kind of human-shaped with, like, you know, paper white skin. And they do have him paper white in this with the moon staff and everything. That's cool. But I've never seen anything where Khonshu has a bird head. Please enlighten me. I don't know for sure. So yeah, the basic story is Mark is actually the dominant personality. I called it from the moment he was revealed. He's the avatar of Khonshu because Khonshu saved his life. And so when he becomes Moon Knight, he's got like all the powers of a god. It's like, can anything kill him? Because I saw he got stabbed like 6 times. And it just seemed inconvenient for him. Like, it didn't even really seem like it hurt all that much. I'm like, how would you kill this guy? Can you kill an avatar? And it's like, apparently you can, because later in the show we see like 6 avatars get killed. But yeah, what does it take is all I'm wondering. And speaking of that scene, so there's... as part of the plot, like, Khonshu... And this was a plot thread I didn't like, honestly. So Khonshu tries to call an audience with the other gods, and he does it by causing an eclipse, because he's the moon god. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. He calls an audience with the other gods, and the other gods just don't listen to him, don't believe him. They act like arrogant idiots, to be honest. Osiris is leading this and being an arrogant idiot. Osiris is one of the most powerful Egyptian gods and one of the wisest. Okay, well, he fell for the stupid box trick, but he's supposed to be wise. I can't call him wise. He fell for the stupid box trick. But the point is he's a jackass in this. Also, how is Osiris out of the underworld? Osiris can't leave the underworld. So yeah, like, he goes and he calls an audience with the avatars, and yeah, they're idiots. They don't listen to him. And they, you know what? All they do is, like he says, Harrow is trying to unleash, like, the evil Amit, and they go, I don't think he is. And he goes, no, he is. And they go, all right, Harrow, come in here. Are you trying to unleash Amit? And he goes, no. And they go, all right, it sounds like he's not. Can't you get the hell out of here? What the hell's wrong with you? You jerk, accusing this poor innocent man. And I was just watching, like, are you all idiots? You're not even going to look into it? He's digging Amit's tomb right over there, like a mile away. Just look, you idiots. You stupid goddamn morons. These are the Egyptian gods being so stupid? Like, the only one who tries to help him a little is Hathor, which makes sense because Hathor is like a nice god like that. But, you know, like, what the hell's going on? The gods are all being so stupid. I do like that they did the Avatar thing. For anyone who's wondering, that is very mythically accurate. Egyptians very often believed that the Egyptian gods would use avatars to interact with the human world, whether it was the pharaoh himself or even animals. Like, Egyptians believed that any cat walking by could be Bast. That's one of the reasons cats were sacred. They believed, like, you know, any, like, sacred crocodiles like the Petzikos were like an avatar of the god Sobek. They believed the Apis bull was an avatar of the gods. They believed that any, like, pig or really almost any animal at all could be Set in disguise walking around. So that's very mythically accurate. I really like that that's a big thing here, like humans being avatars of Egyptian gods. It makes a whole lot of sense. I wonder if they'll do any kind of call to that in Thor Love and Thunder, honestly. Because actually it's kind of funny, like the Norse gods can hang out with humans, but Egyptian gods can't. Weird. So yeah, I was really annoyed by that stupid scene of the avatars being imbeciles. Also, I was really hoping we'd actually see the gods, like, I don't know, come out of the avatars or something. We don't. They're just in human form, and I was just like, oh, come on, let me see the gods. I want to see the gods. And then later in the show, Ethan Hawke comes with his Amit staff, and all like at least 6 gods come up to encounter him like, hey, wait a minute, it turns out you are the villain. Duh. And so they come down to face him, and he just slams the staff and kills all 6 of them. What? Like, I thought we were about to get a really amazing fight scene. We were going to see all the gods in action, maybe see them all fight Amit. Ethan Hawke's trying to unleash Amit. That's the plot. But no, we got completely cheated out of it. And he doesn't even have... He's an avatar of Amit, not even fully. Amit is still inside her Ushabti. You're telling me 6 gods couldn't beat this guy... But then later, like, Moon Knight and Layla can defeat him. What is going on outside? Oh, there's a tree branch brushing against something, so I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. So yeah, I thought that was ridiculous. I hated that. I was like, come on, you totally screwed us over. We didn't get to see the gods really be gods. We just saw them be idiots and then be pathetic. Like, that's all. So yeah, at one point, Ethan Hawke unleashes Amit, and it's weird. I don't know if this is how it's done in the comic, but they make Amit, like, more goddess-like in this show rather than her just being a monster pet, which is what she is in the myth. In the myth, for anyone who doesn't know, Amit has the head of a crocodile, and then the front half body of a lion, and then the back half body of a hippopotamus. Yeah, it's the kind of creature I really like, a hybrid chimera-like creature. But in this show... She's not animalistic. She stands up humanoid-like and speaks eloquently, and it's just crocodile head and then scaly crocodile-like human body. Basically, she's just Sobek. So I was a little disappointed because I felt like they stripped away the things that make Amit unique and cool. So yeah, Amit, whose job in Egyptian mythology is to eat the souls of people who have been judged to be evil. Apparently Amit went rogue, and she's like just going around killing people before they can even... She's like judging people and seeing their future actions and killing them before they can even do any evil, which... accuracy-wise, it technically goes against everything Amit actually is. Amit is there to be a punisher of people who have already done evil in life. But now she's punishing people who haven't done anything in life. They basically gave Khonshu her role now, because Khonshu's like, I punish those who have done evil deeds. You punish those who might do evil deeds. And it's like, oh, Khonshu's doing exactly what Amit would be doing in the myth. It's kind of weird. But there is a scene where, like, after... And then it's kind of weird. So when Amit gets unleashed, she's like, I want to say like 15, 20 feet tall. And so then her cult goes around and starts killing the possible future evildoers, and their souls all go into Amit's mouth, and she grows to the size of a kaiju. So then Khonshu shows up, and he's just the size of a Khonshu, so the size of a kaiju out of nowhere. And I'm like, wait, how did he grow? We know how she grew, but how did he grow? And then he starts fighting her and kicking her ass. It's like, wait. I mean, he loses the fight, but he holds his own. Like... So Khonshu can hold his own against Amit, but 6 other gods are one-shot killed by a single strike from an avatar of Amit who isn't even at full power yet because she's still in the Ushabti at that point? What? What's the power scale here? It's so weird. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that kind of threw me off a little. Now, one thing I did like was Taweret makes an appearance in this. I never see Taweret in anything except like a little bit in the Kane Chronicles. So I was really glad to see Taweret show up. So when she shows up, she like bursts like through a door. I was like, oh shit, that's Taweret. But are they just going to make her like monstrous because she just burst through a door? Taweret is the hippo goddess. But she looks through the door and then she goes, hi. And I'm like, yes, that's Taweret. That is Taweret. A lot of people don't know Taweret is a woman, and she's a very kind goddess. She's goddess of women and children and fertility and healing. She helps people. That's all she ever does is help people. So I was very happy to see that that's what they did with her here. They made her a kind, helpful goddess who's like nice to everybody and just wants to do the right thing. They did her right. The only thing they didn't do right about her is she's supposed to have the claws and tail of a crocodile. They didn't have that. It was just all hippo. It's weird. This show didn't really do any hybrid things. I don't understand why they didn't do it. And then what's weird a little bit, like, both really cool and really weird. So Taweret then, later she acts through Layla. Like, Layla becomes Taweret's avatar. And I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be so cool. Like, is she gonna, like, get, like, hippo strength or, like, something like that? And no, Layla gets, like Moon Knight, she gets her own outfit. It's a really cool outfit. But the way it's designed, and then it has wings come out of it. Taweret doesn't have wings. She looks way more like an avatar of Isis than of Taweret, the goddess, not the group. She looks like an avatar of Isis. Everything from the colors to the designs to the wings and everything, it's nothing like Taweret. It's more like Isis. So I don't know if that's a thing in the comics or not, but it really took me aback. I was like, oh, that's awesome, but that has nothing to do with Taweret. So I was very confused by that. Later, there's a scene where the villain impales one of her wings so she can't get out. And then she's like, oh, I can't get out. I can't get out for like minutes and minutes. And then much later, she just goes, oh, Mark, are you okay? Ding, knocks the thing right out and moves. I'm like, wait, why didn't you do that earlier? It's so weird. Like, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, there's little moments like that which are kind of holding the score back from being a 9 or a 10. Did I miss... Oh, yeah, so we go to the Duat at one point. I was happy to see it. I liked how they did it. It's how the Duat is supposed to be. You're on a boat, like, sailing through the sands of the Duat, But then they did some weird things, like they do the heart measuring scale thing while on the boat, even though you're supposed to take the boat to the scale room, and Anubis is supposed to perform the heart test, and instead we have Taweret sailing them through the duat and doing the heart test at the exact same time. It's a little weird. You know, I was very happy to see Taweret, don't get me wrong, but we're in the Underworld. The main character, at this point, he's been killed. He comes back later. But he's literally been killed, and it's Taweret who greets him and starts taking him through the Underworld. I'm like, it's supposed to be Anubis. Anubis is the one who greets you in your death and, like, conducts your heart trial for you. Where's Anubis? Also, Amit is the pet of Anubis and Osiris, so where's Anubis in regards to Amit? Like, Anubis, people have died, they need to be escorted, they need to have their hearts weighed. Also, your pet is on the loose. Where are you? Anubis, where is Anubis? Buddy, where are you? Where were you? We needed you, Anubis. Where you been? Where have you been, Anubis? Very strange. It would have been fine, it's just they didn't acknowledge it at all. Like, you know, maybe Taweret could have said, normally Anubis would do this, but he's indisposed. Like, I don't know if they're building something up for later by not using Anubis right now, but I don't know. I was kind of surprised that Anubis wasn't in the duat, and yeah, obviously all the other things I've said. So yeah, then at one point, was there anything else I wanted to say before we get to this part? Yeah, well, when they're dead, we kind of go into Mark's backstory. It's kind of rough, but you know, it makes you feel for him more, so it works. It works overall. Mark and Steven have completely different Moon Knight costumes. I actually love that. I don't know if that's a thing in the comics, but it was so much fun in the final episode to watch him constantly switching Moon Knight costumes as he fights a whole bunch of guys. I loved that. I would love to see Moon Knight join the Avengers. I think that would be a lot of fun. But then we got to a kind of weird part. So Ethan Hawke defeats Moon Knight and stabs him and starts to suck stuff out of him, and then suddenly Moon Knight just goes into a fugue state, which is later revealed why. And we just cut to the fight's over, Moon Knight won the fight, and I was like, what? That's kind of a weird way to end it, especially while this kaiju battle and this action you were doing so good, and then this is not a very good way to end it. Then they imprison Amit inside Ethan Hawke, and all they have to do is kill Ethan Hawke, and both him and Amit will die. And like, Moon Knight's like, all right, I'm gonna kill him. And then Layla goes, no, don't kill him. And I'm like, what? What are you doing? Amit and Ethan Hawke's cult just slaughtered dozens of people and hundreds of people. They're gonna do more. They've been doing it for a while. It's like, no, Moon Knight, you have a choice. And it's like, yeah, choose to kill him. You've already killed like 60 people. Kill this one. And Khonshu says the same thing. He's like, no, you come on, kill him. Like, we know Amit's gonna kill again. We have to get rid of Amit. And Moon Knight goes, you know what? You sound just like her, Khonshu. I won't kill him. I'm like, what are you doing? No, Amit will kill again, you fucking asshole! And then he's like, now, Khonshu, release us. And if I were Khonshu, I'd be like, no, you didn't do what I said to do, so I'm not releasing you. Khonshu just goes, fine, I release you. And I was thinking, why would you release him? And he does release them. And I'm just like, so wait, do we have no more Moon Knight now? What's going on? And I was really annoyed, honestly. I was really annoyed. I was like, no, you ruined it. You ruined it. You were doing so good and you ruined it. But stick around for the after credits, because it turns out they do explain some things that does make some things better. So Ethan Hawke, who has Amit inside him, gets kidnapped by Khonshu, and it turns out Khonshu, he agreed to release Mark and Steven, but this is where they reveal there's a third personality who Khonshu never agreed to release, and this is like the gangster personality. So Khonshu's like, yeah, well, the reason I let Mark and Steven go is because I had another one, and he goes, come on, and the third personality kills Ethan Hawke, killing Amit. So I was like, oh, okay. That's why you were okay with it, Conchu, because you had a plan all along. And also it reveals what happened in that fight. The third personality took over. And it was it makes more sense. I still would have really preferred to see the final moment, but I guess they really wanted to build up that third personality, and we did get some really cool action leading up to that. So at least there's that. At the same time, though, it does not fix how stupid Mark was being. God damn it, Mark. But they did kill Amit, so, no one else is gonna die because of the stupid shit you did. So, like I said, it fixed a lot. It got me, back into it. I was like, okay, I'm back in. You lost me for a minute, but I'm back now. I'm good. So, yeah, those were my overall thoughts on how it ended. I thought the ending started out really bad with the whole, just kill 6 gods thing. I was really upset. It was a roller coaster of emotions because I was really upset at that. Then suddenly we get a kaiju battle, and I'm like, oh, I'm back in. And then Taweret says, you're going to be my avatar. I'm like, hell yeah. And then the girl looks more like an Isis avatar. I'm like, what? I'm confused. And then she starts kicking ass. I'm like, but it's fun to watch. And then Moon Knight comes in and starts kicking ass. And he and Steven are kicking ass at the same time. I'm like, hell yeah, this is amazing. And then we get dicked out of seeing the actual solution to the fight. I'm like, wait, what? And then he acts like an idiot. I'm like, no, you idiot. But then the after credits scene, I was like, oh, well, you kind of brought me back. So, roller coaster of emotions this last episode. So yeah, overall, I still recommend the show. It's fun. There are a lot of Egyptian inaccuracies, but it is still really cool to see Taweret. It is still cool to see the Duat, and to see a lot of other Egyptian stuff going on. Ooh, I'm going to brag a little, by the way. At one point, they go to an underground tomb, and they're like, wait, why does this Egyptian tomb have Macedonian things on it? And I went, oh my god, it's Alexander the Great! And then, Stephen looks at the tomb and is like, oh, it's Alexander the Great. And then Wilda looked at me and she went, nerd! Yeah, that was a fun moment, honestly. I loved pointing out all the little stuff in the background. In the museum I could see the Apis bowl and a whole bunch of other stuff. It is cool to see him fight jackals and stuff, though I thought they were killed a little too easily. But yeah, overall, fun show. I had fun watching it. It's not perfect. There's problems, but if you can get past those, I think you'll still have a lot of fun in this show. So yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on Moon Knight. I would really like to see him join the Avengers. I'd be down to see a season 2. Hopefully that finally appeases all of you guys who have been begging me to talk about this show. So that's me talking about this show. And Disney, since I'm recommending your show to people, can you please stop copywriting my videos? Please don't copyright this one. Anyway, I'm the Mythology Guy. That was a mythology-related TV show, and a pretty good one with some problems. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.